Have you ever paused, completely, instinctively, because of a strange ringing in your ear? Not the hum of electricity or the echo of noise, but something else. A subtle frequency, sometimes soft like a whisper, sometimes piercing, as if it cuts through the veil of silence. It arrives without warning. It vanishes just as quickly. To some, it's dismissed as a passing quirk of the body. But to those attuned to deeper layers of reality, it feels like a message. Because for the spiritually sensitive, nothing is random, not even a sound, especially not a sound. That mysterious ringing, what if it's not just a physical phenomenon, but a spiritual signal? A nudge, a call, a whisper from something greater than you, arriving precisely when your soul is shifting, awakening, or standing at the edge of a hidden doorway. You may try to brush it off, but something inside you recognizes it. It's not heard with the ears, it's felt, like the universe is reaching out, not in words, but in vibration. For many of the chosen, that subtle tone is a sacred reminder. Something is stirring in the unseen. In this video, we'll explore the deeper spiritual meaning behind this phenomenon, what it means during transitions in your life, why it often comes to those with a calling, and how it connects to a frequency only a few are tuned to receive. You are not imagining things. You are perceiving what most people are too distracted to notice, and that alone sets you apart. If you've ever felt that high-pitched hum, if it stopped you in your tracks, sparked curiosity, or even a sense of unease, this message is for you. There's more behind it than you've been told. Something is trying to speak to your soul, and the ringing is just the beginning. Follow our channel if this resonates. Here we decode the whispers the world forgets, because the spiritual realm is always speaking, and the chosen are always listening. Medically, it's known as tinnitus, a high-pitched sound that appears with no external source. It can last a few seconds or return in cycles. Often, it's explained away as a side effect of stress, noise exposure, or imbalances in the body. And while those causes may be real, they don't tell the full story, at least not to those who live with heightened spiritual awareness. Because to them, that sound doesn't just happen, it arrives. It often comes in moments of complete stillness, when the world goes quiet, when your mind momentarily steps aside, and suddenly there it is, a tone. Not loud, but undeniable. It doesn't just pass through your ears, it asks for your attention, almost like it wants you to stop and listen with something far deeper than hearing. From a spiritual perspective, this ringing is believed to be more than noise. It's vibration, a subtle frequency from beyond the visible, bleeding through into our physical world. A transmission from the unseen, a gentle tap on the shoulder from realms we can't touch, reminding us that the spiritual is not far, it's right here, just beyond the veil of perception. Some believe these tones are meant to realign us, to tune our energy into something higher. When you hear that sound, it may not just be biology. It might be the universe attempting to tune you like an instrument, a soft pull into alignment. A moment where you're being brought closer to something greater, something just beyond the reach of words. It's not just a sound, it's a signal. Ancient traditions have long acknowledged what modern minds often dismiss. In Tibetan monasteries, monks chant sacred mantras, not just to be heard, but to be felt. The repetition creates internal vibrations, resonating within the ears and the body, aligning the spirit with higher realms. To them, the inner sound isn't a distraction, it's a doorway, a gateway to elevated consciousness. Across the world, among indigenous peoples, similar beliefs echo. In certain tribal traditions, the ringing in one's ear is said to be the voice of the ancestors, a message from the spirit world, a warning, or a gentle nudge toward awareness. They don't rush to explain it away. They pause. They sit with it. They listen in silence, seeking not noise, but meaning. Because this sound is not given to everyone. It often visits those who are in the midst of a spiritual awakening, people whose inner sensitivity goes beyond the surface of daily life. These are the ones marked by something deeper, the ones with purpose, and for them, this subtle frequency becomes a reminder of that calling. It arrives during prayer, in restless moments, or in the quiet between thoughts, whispering, "Be here now." To those walking a spiritual path, the sound isn't a medical event, it's a message. It doesn't demand explanation. It asks for presence. It calls your attention not to the world outside, but to what stirs within. Its vibration, its energy, and often, it's a sacred sign that you are not just living, you are aligning. If the sound touches you differently, if it draws you inward instead of pushing you away, trust that. You don't need to understand it all at once. Some messages don't come in words. Some reminders are silent yet powerful. And maybe, just maybe, that ringing is how the divine whispers, "You are not alone. You are being guided." It often comes when life feels uncertain, when emotions are high, decisions loom, or everything familiar begins to shift. That high-pitched tone, faint yet insistent, may appear just as your inner world begins to rearrange itself. And for those attuned to spiritual signals, this sound is never random. It acts like a quiet alarm, a cosmic chime marking the beginning of something new. It's subtle in your ears, but profound in your spirit. The moments we call uncomfortable may, in truth, be sacred thresholds. Picture an old radio dial being turned, the static, the distortion, the chaos, until a new signal locks in. That's what transition feels like in the soul. The ringing is a sign you're tuning out of one frequency and into another. The dissonance is only temporary. Something clearer is waiting on the other side. Those with a sacred calling often feel this with greater intensity, because they're not just living, they're evolving. They go through rapid cycles of expansion. Old identities break down, relationships dissolve, familiar paths suddenly close, and then something bigger begins to unfold. In these moments, the ringing seems to say, you're leaving behind what no longer serves you, and stepping toward what was always meant for you. Many who undergo spiritual awakenings report this exact phenomenon. They hear the sound during deep prayer, long stretches of solitude, or in meditative silence. And not long after, their perspective begins to shift. Intuition sharpens, awareness deepens. Life starts to make sense in a new way, as if the veil has been lifted. That ringing, it often arrives with release. It may come when you finally let go of pain, of fear, of a story you no longer need to carry. It's like a subtle crack in the spiritual realm. Something unspoken breaks open, a burden lifts, and suddenly you are lighter, more balanced, closer to your true purpose, closer to the reason your soul came here in the first place. Those with a spiritual mission often carry a different kind of energy. Their vibration moves at a higher frequency, more sensitive, more attuned, more open to realms that most never notice. And because the body itself is not just matter but a vessel of spirit, it responds. In these souls, the ringing is not a symptom. It's confirmation, a sacred alignment, a gentle resonance between them and the divine. Think of it like an antenna catching a distant signal. Not everyone has the receiver, but the chosen do. They are the ones whose sensitivity becomes a gift, not a burden. Their inner compass picks up messages others walk past. A whisper in the room, a shift in the air, a vibration in the ear. These are the signs the universe sends, not to confuse, but to confirm. Many report hearing the tone at pivotal moments, when clarity strikes, when a new path is chosen, when something deep within says, "This is the way." It's as if the cosmos leans in to say, "You heard right. Keep going." Others notice it when entering sacred spaces, places heavy with spiritual energy, where the veil is thinner and the self becomes more transparent. In these moments, the ringing is not just a sound, it's a recognition. It signals that perception is active, intuition is awake. These are not exaggerations. They are glimpses of a reality that doesn't play by the rules of logic. Because those chosen for something greater often carry an open channel, one that doesn't require words to receive truth. So when a sound with no earthly source breaks the silence, it may be more than coincidence. Especially in moments of confusion, unrest, or soul-deep uncertainty, that subtle hum may be a divine whisper. You are being led. To truly understand the meaning behind the ringing, you have to shift the way you listen. Not with logic, not with analysis, but with awareness. Instead of trying to decode it like a puzzle, turn inward. Ask yourself, what's happening within you at that moment? What emotions are surfacing? What thoughts were present just before the sound emerged? Because sometimes the ringing is a response. Other times, it's a warning. Some people report feeling a sudden calm wash over them when they hear it, like the universe is reassuring them in silence. Others describe a flutter in the chest, a sense that something urgent is being communicated, even if the message isn't immediately clear. Either way, the signal is not meaningless, and it is never random. What matters most in these moments is that you do not ignore it. To listen consciously is to say, "I'm ready to understand." For those on a spiritual path, this kind of listening is sacred. It's as if the divine speaks in code, and the ringing is one of its hidden languages, a whisper from within that connects you to something beyond. When you receive the sound with presence, rather than fear or dismissal, something begins to unfold. Insights arise, answers surface. Sometimes there's a subtle shift inside you, a soft recalibration of your spirit. That's why so many who pay attention report an immediate increase in intuition, a sense of inner clarity, or a peaceful stillness that wasn't there before. Because when the soul listens, the universe responds. The ringing in your ears is not just a passing sound. For those with a calling, it is a message, subtle, spiritual, and deliberate. It comes when the world goes quiet, when decisions weigh heavy, or when your soul is on the verge of awakening to something far greater. It's not noise. It's a sign, a doorway, a key that opens the inner senses and sharpens the whispers of intuition. The universe speaks to the chosen in ways that defy language. Sometimes it doesn't use words at all. The ringing may be one of its sacred dialects, a spiritual frequency that only those who are truly ready can feel. So the next time it happens, pause, close your eyes, listen, not with your ears, but with your heart. It might be the confirmation your soul has been quietly waiting for. And if this message stirred something in you, share your experience in the comments below. Follow our channel for more insights into the signs most people overlook, but heaven never forgets to send.